Hello and welcome to another episode of Garden to Table with Rose, and I am Rose. So today I am back in the kitchen for the final day of the 10-day autumn soup challenge. So I'm excited. This is the final day of making soup, and this is a recipe that I think I will actually like. So there are two bonuses. This is going to be a carrot ginger soup. The soup I'm making today is based upon the recipe in the challenge, which is carrot ginger soup. Now, I did not have any more carrots. I bought a big 3-pound bag and I used every single one for the soups I've made thus far, and I refused to go back to the store and buy more carrots. So I said, well, what can I use in place of carrots? Obviously some root vegetable that would be pretty sweet, so I thought about sweet potato, pumpkin, and ultimately I settled on squash, which I have here in my bowl. Now this is called a Harvest Moon squash, and I grew it in my garden. I'm sure other seed companies use other names, but it looks like a pumpkin. Basically, the squash, it's the shape of a pumpkin, but the flesh is a kind of pale green color, and the inside flesh is orange. And this is the first time I had it. I roasted one up. I used the smallest one I had. I roasted it up, and it was a good volume of squash, and tasted it for the first time, and it is very tasty. It's very similar to the taste of a butternut squash, roasted in the oven, because that's how I did it. So I'm very happy with this squash, and this is one that's supposed to be able to store for a long time, so I'll be able to keep it in my cool storage, hopefully for a few months, and enjoy those, because I have like, I think 8 of them or something like that, and they're big. I'll insert a picture of it so you can see it for yourself. But anyway, before I get into the recipe, if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up, click the thumbs up button, and click the little yellow subscribe box on your screen, and that will subscribe you to the channel, and you'll get alerts of the newest videos when they come out. All right, so I have changed this recipe up quite a bit, and I'm just going to read to you what the original said to use, and I will put a copy of the original recipe in the description box. So you're going to need 3 tablespoons of coconut oil, 2 chopped onions, 1/4 cup of ginger peeled and chopped, which is a lot of ginger, 4 garlic cloves minced, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, 12 carrots washed and chopped into 1/2 inch pieces. It does not say what size of these veggies. It does not say what size carrot, which would be helpful. Is it small carrots? Are they large carrots? You know, so I think having a weight there probably would be more helpful with all of these recipes. Having a weight or a cup measurement of that veggie probably would have been more helpful, because everybody has different size produce. All right, so 3 cups canned coconut milk, unsweetened, 2 cups vegetable stock or broth, 1/2 lemon juice, ground black pepper, and sea salt. So let me tell you what I did. First of all, like I said, I didn't have 12 carrots, so I opted to roast a squash along with the onions and garlic that are in the recipe. Now, I initially put it in, and I drizzled it with oil. Drizzle it with olive oil, whatever oil you want. And then I put a little salt and pepper on it and kind of tossed it. I put the squash and the onions in together. Those took about 45 minutes, no, about an hour actually, to get really soft. I wanted it very soft because I'm going to puree this soup. So that was, yeah, it was about an hour, and then the last 25 minutes I took the foil off. I covered it in foil and added a couple of tablespoons of water, because winter squash tends to take a long time to soften up. So then I took the foil off for the last like 25 minutes, and that's when I added the garlic, because I didn't want the garlic to burn. Now you could put it in all at once, I'm sure, and it probably would be okay as long as you're roasting it at 350 or less, but I didn't want to take any chances, so I threw the garlic in the last few minutes and cooked it that way. And then I transferred it all to my bowl here. Now, like I said, I had to guesstimate what 12 carats volume might look like, but that's what I did. And also, in terms of this recipe, I am going to use 2 cans of coconut milk because 3 cans is a lot of fat and calories. There's no recipe that I will use 3 cans of coconut milk for. So I got my cumin, I got salt and pepper. Today I'm using actually a boxed stock, vegetable stock that's already made up and good to go. I just wanted to mix it up a little bit, and I had some of these in my pantry. This is 4 cups, and I'm going to use the whole thing because I am eliminating 1 can of the coconut milk. So, and I have 2 cans of coconut milk. I really like this brand. It's the first time I used it during this challenge. Native Forest, unsweetened organic coconut milk, simple, no guar. Now, like I said, this is the first time I've used this during this challenge, and what impresses me about this coconut milk is this is the first coconut milk I've ever had, canned coconut milk, that didn't separate. So it is not separated at all. It's all mixed to a homogeneous, creamy consistency. Usually they separate sitting in the can, and the coconut cream rises to the top, and under there is all the coconut like water. So you usually have to mix it together, but I was impressed. These didn't need to be mixed. And then I'm using my ginger paste. I have a big jar of it. Like I said, I get these big jars of ginger as well as garlic paste from the Indian grocery store, and they're relatively inexpensive and they're great to have on hand, especially when you cook a lot. So this recipe will have you basically cook this on your stove top. You know, they want you to saute obviously like your onions in some olive oil until they're soft, and then add the garlic, and then they want you to add the carrots, saute that a little bit, then add your broth and your coconut milk, cover it and simmer it for 20 minutes or so, just like most of the other soups in this challenge. So the steps are similar. Then they want you to use an immersion blender or a Vitamix or any other kind of blender you have to puree it at the end. So we've made pureed soups here before too, and then season with the salt and pepper and squirt a little bit of lemon on there for a little bit of zing. So since I roasted my veggies because I thought they would, you know, be more tasty roasted, you know, that caramelizes the sugars and dehydrates it a little bit. So since I did that, I'm going straight to the Vitamix, and I'm going to mix the whole soup in here. That's my plan. That's what I'm gonna do. And like I said, I'm pretty excited about this one because I like squash, and I would think I would like, a pureed soup made with squash. I would think, and I say that because I can't even recall if I've ever even had one of those butternut soups, you know, like Panera Bread sells one. I think that's really popular, butternut squash soups. I don't know if I've ever even had it. If I did, I can't remember. So I'm using this whole 4 cups. The original recipe I think is 3 cups, but I'm using 4 cups because I'm only using 2 cans of coconut milk. Ooh, uh-oh. This is a problem. I'm at my top. Oh no. Now 1/4 of a cup of ginger is a lot. I'm not putting that much ginger in here. Sorry, but I like ginger, but that's a bit much. All right, so here's the problem. The problem is I'm almost at the top. I've only added 1 can of coconut milk. So I'm gonna save that last can and stir it in later. 2 teaspoons of cumin. I'm just gonna eyeball it there. And then I'm gonna use 1/4 of a cup, but I'll use like 2 tablespoons. A little bit under that. Because I like ginger a lot, but I don't know that I want I don't know that I want it to overpower the rest of the ingredients. All right, you know what would be good in this? Some thyme. I think thyme goes well with squash. Rosemary does too. Rosemary would be good in here. You can use that as a garnish, of course. All right, let's hope this doesn't splatter crazy because I got it all the way to the top. I just knew which. Why am I? I thought I should put all this in. So what I'm going to do is start it. Now, I just wanted to start it off slow because I filled it almost to the top. So I didn't want it to explode. But now what I'm going to do is turn it up to high. I'm going to do I think it's 6.5 minutes is the max on this timer, which is kind of like a soup function. So starting with room temperature ingredients, in that time it should be piping hot. And then I will stir in the other can of coconut milk at the end, just so I don't have any mishaps here. All right, so I shall be back in 6.5 minutes once this is done. And then, you know, if you're doing it in a pot, you're going to have to cook it until the veggies are soft and then get your immersion blender and get it pureed how you want it, or then transfer it to your blender and blend it until it's pureed, because this is a pureed soup. All right, I will taste it for salt and pepper as well at the end and add some lemon juice, and I will be back for the taste test. 1 minute. All right, I am back and the soup has finished blending. You know, I obviously put way more squash in this than was necessary, and maybe more liquid, I do not know, but I had such a huge volume. It's obviously way more than 4 servings. I ended up with like 2 of these pitchers full by the time it was done. So luckily it is a soup that I like, so it'll be okay having extras. So yeah, I had to mix and take some out, mix and take some out, because obviously I packed too much into mine. Maybe I used way too much squash. But the soup is done. It is piping hot, as you can see from the Vitamix. A bit of salt, and that's about it. Oh, and I added a couple of teaspoons of turmeric. It just seemed like it would go really good with this type of soup, with a squash soup that's pureed. Turmeric seemed like a good thing, and it's good for you. So I added a couple of teaspoons and just mixed it in at the end. I squeezed my lemon in and mixed that in. And so now that's all that's left to do is the taste test. And there's still some foam on mine because I just got done blending it. So in terms of a garnish, you could go with no garnish. I think green onion would be really good on this. Green onion, also some kind of drizzle of oil. I have, let's see, I was thinking about using this pumpkin seed oil, which I thought would go great with a squash type soup. But I'm not going to use that. The reason why is because the chili oil is still abundant. So instead, I think I'm going to use some of the Szechuan chili oil that I ordered a couple of months ago, I guess, for a particular recipe. And I have a lot of it because I ordered like 3 different kinds. You had to mix 2 different kinds for the recipe, and then I ordered a 3rd one. So I got a lot of this, and it's tasty. If you can just remember to drizzle it on your food. So and I mean, if you want to be fancy, you can make a pattern with it, etc., etc. I'm not doing all of that. And that is it. So let's see. So all I'm adding is a few drops of that chili oil. So let's taste it. That's good. It's really not very heavy, and I think that's because I omitted 1 can of coconut milk. So it feels pretty light, even though I'm sure it still has a lot of calories and fat from the coconut milk plus the squash, which is, you know, a sweeter variety. It's really good. Let me try some with the chili oil. That is really good. And the chili oil complements the sweetness because it is a butternut type squash, so it has a natural sweetness, and which is tasty. Go figure. So I really like this. Now this is a pureed soup, so for me this wouldn't be filling by itself. I mean, obviously you could add protein in it or serve protein with it, but what I think I'm going to do with this, which is what I do with a lot of these pureed type soups that are pretty light, is that I have them for breakfast. So, and it being sweet, it kind of lends itself to a breakfast drink for me. You know, so I usually put it in a mug just like a cup of coffee and heat it up and drink it. So that is probably what I will do with the rest of this. I have like a gallon of this stuff, it seems, at this point. I think I put, yeah, a little bit too much of the squash, but anywho, it's good, so I will make use of all of it. So that's the carrot ginger soup, but in my case it was squash ginger soup. And then I'm glad I cut back on the ginger. It says 1/4 cup, which is a lot of ginger, and ginger is powerful, pungent, right? So I think I used like 2 tablespoons. 1/4 cup I think is it 3 tablespoons, somewhere in there? So I cut back on that, and I'm glad I did, so that worked out well. So this completes the soup challenge. Now if you like, you can go back through my other videos where you can see day 1 through 10, 1 through 9, and this is day 10, and so I did it. I finished this challenge. I cooked a soup each day for 10 days for this challenge, and I would say about 50% of them I liked enough that I would make them again. The other half not so much, particularly the bean soups. I am not a bean person. So the vegan tomato soup was great. The red lentil curry soup was great. The Thai coconut soup was great. The roasted red pepper soup, no, bland. The ultimate detox soup was pretty good. Actually, the ultimate detox soup I think was one of my favorites. The paprika corn chowder was great. Minestrone, nope, I don't like minestrone. Black bean soup, nope. The veggie chicken noodle was fantastic with, and all of these I pretty much made alterations, I think, except for maybe the black bean soup. I don't think I added anything extra to that or anything. The carrot ginger soup was just the last one, which I changed to squash. Love that too. So actually there was only like three of the soups that really, 3 to 4 that I wasn't crazy about. There were a couple that I like, but I don't know that I'd necessarily make it again, particularly the 2 with the lentils. They were tasty, especially when I think I added chicken to one of them, but I just usually only use lentils if I'm gonna do an Indian dish and make some kind of dal or something like that, something that goes alongside of an Indian feast. So I don't really see me using them outside of that because I'm really not a bean person. So that is it for the challenge. Let me know in the comments, did you enjoy this challenge? Did you find it interesting? Are you going to cook any of these soups? Are you going to make alterations to them, or are you going to cook the recipes as is? So, and if you all like this kind of challenge series, then we can definitely do more of those. I was thinking that this would be great as a shorter challenge. I found 10 days to be overwhelming. That's a lot of soup, unless you have a huge family. But it was a lot. 10 days, 10 big volumes of soup. I think a 5-day challenge would have been more reasonable. It would have been more manageable, and it would have been completed in like 1 week versus doing this. This was like almost 2 weeks. So if I did a challenge, if I put together a challenge, it would not be more than 5 recipes. 5 recipes in 5 days, a kind of thing. And you could really do it seasonally is what I was thinking. Like you could do soups, but make it seasonal. Like you could do a winter soup challenge where it's more like stews, heavy soups, right? For the winter, you could do a spring one where you'd probably incorporate asparagus and peas and the early ripening veggies. And of course you could do a summer one where you maybe do some cold soups or some berry soups, which I've never tried and I would like to try. Tastes refreshing and more like a dessert. I should probably taste more like a smoothie bowl or something. Anywho, I'm rambling. All right, that is it for today's video. That is it for the 10-day soup challenge. You will find all of the recipes in the description sections for each video if you would like to try to make them or adapt them to your taste. And I shall see you next time on Garden to Table with Rose. Bye bye.